Dr. K, and this is the truth about mental illness. Welcome back, everybody, to the greatest mental health and wellness journey of our lifetime. I'm so excited that you just keep on tuning in. Shout out to our caregivers, our ally angels. We just love to love you. Listen, I just want to remind everybody that this is the space where we can show up and be our authentic selves, okay? Leave feeling affirmed and empowered. So as we are going through this social media campaign that's going to just dovetail us into this exclusive, launch this fall, please feel free to, drop comments. I love to bust myths about mental illness. I love when people call me and say, oh, Dr. K, I was wondering this and that, blah, 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 blah. And then I get to bust the myth, and then I actually get to give some context behind exactly why that is not true. Okay, so if you want me to do any myth busting like we've been doing by tagging some of these really critical topics that are laying the foundation for our knowledge and understanding in mental illness, then please just drop a comment, send me a direct message. It is what it is, okay? Because I promise you that after we launch, the content is going in a whole nother direction. So y'all gonna have to keep up, okay? I'm literally just giving us the nuggets we need for understanding so that when we get to the fall of this year, things can start to blossom a little bit more. I'll be able to share a little bit more about myself, and you guys will probably at that point be like, oh, that makes sense. All right, listen, today we're going to talk about the buzzword. What is the buzzword, Dr. K? The buzzword is self-care. Oh my gosh, everybody raise your hand right now because I know you've heard it. Everybody's walking into a bookstore, like multiple aisles of self-help. Google self-care activities, self-care in general, probably millions of different hits, okay? So this video is going to be quick because I have spent a lot of time, like years, over a decade, okay, trying to figure out like what's the best approach for me when it comes to actually doing self-care. So I'm just going to share what I do. You may choose to do something else. Maybe one or more of these things might help support the way you've thought about self-care. Hopefully it's something that will get you thinking about it. And if you've already thought about it, hopefully this will help you action it and actually do it. All right. So the biggest thing about self-care is that you have to do it. It's the biggest thing. You actually have to do it. You cannot just be walking around thinking about self-care. You actually have to do it. Okay. So let me talk through what I do. Number one, find a self-care activity. How do you do that? I already mentioned Google, books in the bookstore, all that's fine. Call your friends, call your family, ask your kids, ask your partner, ask your significant other, what they think they would be cool for you to do for self-care. And then think about other things that you've seen other people do. And you're like, well, that seems cool. Like, I would like to do that. Like, I want to do that. Okay, so find a self-care activity. Here's the second thing, though. Once you find it, you got to find a backup, because what if something happens and you can't engage in the activity that you're really actually desiring, to engage in? So for example, like if you, get off at 5 o'clock and you play like intramural sports, you got to drive to the other side of town to play on a softball field or whatnot. And as you're driving to the other side of town, it just starts pouring down raining. And then you get there and it's still pouring down raining. And then it's like the game is canceled. So there goes your self-care activity. But if you have a backup, okay, as soon as it started raining, as soon as you saw that first sprinkle hit your windshield, you probably should have started thinking about your backup self-care activity. If you still want to do something physical, maybe it's going to the gym instead. So find a self-care activity, and then obviously you want to find a backup in that space. Then find something that you can do alone. Oh my gosh. And that is okay. Definitely do not feel like you have to be dependent on somebody else in order to action your self-care. That kind of defeats the purpose, right? So you got to have something that you can do. You got to have a backup, and then you got to have something that you can do by yourself. Maybe you're at a yoga studio. You're all in the same space. That energy is vibing really well, but you are centered and it's all about you, okay? Find something that you can do that's not dependent on other people. And then choose something that's free. This is my favorite part. Not $1, not 1 cent, all the reward. Y'all want to know what my activity is? Literally running around this house dancing to music. That's it. I just turn on the playlist, turn on the music, turn it all the way up as high as I can get it. And I literally just dance around my house. And there is nothing wrong with that. I don't even care if people judge me for for it. It feels amazing to me, and it does not cost me anything but the time that I need to invest in myself. So find something that is free. And then this is really good too. I learned this throughout the course of treatment. Y'all, I'm giving y'all some nuggets because I've been in this for a minute. You have to know when to actually activate your self-care activity. If it's the primary, if it's the backup, if it's the free one, if it's the one you do by yourself, you have got to know when to actually activate it. Now, this is what I have learned, and I told my own counselor, which is that my way of knowing when I need to actually activate my self-care is when I feel like I have not been living in a relaxed body for 2 days, like 48 hours, like that's my limit. And think about that though, because most of the time you feel stress in your body way faster than you realize it in your mind. Okay. So for me, if I'm realizing it after 48 hours, I got to put myself on a clock, right? So I'm kind of like conditioned to know that as I'm moving throughout my week, whether I have something planned or not for self-care, if there's any 2 days consecutively back to back, and I'm like, whoo, I just feel so tense. Like I'm not in a relaxed body, then I got to do something about that. Okay. So it could be my primary self-care activity, secondary, something I'm doing alone, something I do for free, like dance around the house. That could be on a Wednesday night. I can get home from work on a Wednesday and decide, you know what? Monday and Tuesday, I've not been in a relaxed body. I'm dancing tonight. And that's it. And it's fun and I have a really good time. Okay. So then you have to line up your non-negotiables. Why do I say that? Because if you don't, you won't do it. You will find an excuse after an excuse after an excuse, or something will always come up and you'll be like, oh, I couldn't do it because of this, or, oh, I couldn't activate it, because of that. So make self-care a priority and a complete non-negotiable. That's it. If I have to do something and it's after work and I'm like, okay, if I get off work at 5 and I got to be this other place at 5:30 for like a massage or something, then that means I'll put it either on my work calendar or my personal calendar, and I will literally have my alarm go off and say, leave on time, and start reminding me 2 hours before I get off work, 1 hour before I get off work, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. Y'all, I'm not joking. If I could just show you my calendar on my phone, I have multiple alerts for my self-care because I don't want to forget to do it. I don't want to have an excuse now. Oh, I forgot that. So remind yourself as much as possible, non-negotiable. And then the last thing I really want to encourage all of us on is the reality that it is okay to take care of yourself. It is perfectly fine to be healthy. Like you don't have to live in a relaxed body. You don't have to live in a stressed out, body. Okay. You do not have to live in a stressed out mind. Like it is okay if you take care of yourself. I have met so many people, and I know there's people watching this right now, so many people who take care of everybody else but themselves. That means I'm talking to my caregivers out here too, right? It's okay for you to have a healthy life balance. All of this is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I do know that it takes time. Trust me. For me, it's taken a lot of time, several years before I get really comfortable in believing in myself in a way that I think that I am of value enough to take care of myself in a way that's healthy. So you are too. And if nobody else is telling you this, please let me affirm you. Please let me empower you right now. You are the mom. You are beautiful. You are amazing. And you deserve time for yourself to take care of yourself so that you can then go and pour out with other people or to other people. I have sat across from so many clients year after year after year, and I've sat across from myself looking in the mirror and realizing like, oh my gosh, like all I'm doing is pouring out in this space. I'm pouring out in this relationship. I'm pouring out at this job. I'm pouring out in this community, engagement or work. And then I'm not getting poured back into. See, now that's starting to creep over into that relationship space that we have not dipped our toes into yet. But at the end of the day, you cannot be the only one pouring out. You just can't. And if you are in something, whether it's work, whether it's a relationship, or any type of relationship, okay, and you find that you are pouring out more than you are receiving, that should be like a huge red flag for you because it's draining you. And especially, you'll really know if you're engaging in all this self-care and you're still pouring out and you're still not getting anything back. That's going to make your self-care feel like it's like a task, but it's not supposed to be a task. It's supposed to be fun. So kind of check your levels, okay, of investment in all the areas of your life as you are figuring out what type of self-care activity it is you feel like is most important for you. And that's why I like to say, find something you can do by yourself and something that's free, because then that way you're not worried about whether other people are going to show up and pour into you. You pour into yourself. How about that? All right, so let's go down our list real quick. Self-care. You actually have to do it. Number 2, find a self-care activity. Number 3, find a backup self-care activity. Number 4, choose something, that you can do alone. That's really key, okay? Because you don't need an audience to take care of yourself. Choose an activity that's free. I already told you mine. I'm dancing. That's it. I'm kicking it. And then know when to activate it. What is your barometer? I told you that mine is 2 days. If I go more than 2 days, like just, I'm not in a relaxed body, I'm stressed, I'm worried, I'm anxious, whatever that is, boom, that's when I know I need to enact my self-care. Sometimes if I need to enact it really quick, it might be the one that's free because that's what I have access to, because all I got to do is come home and turn on my music. Okay, see how that works? Decades, y'all, to get there. Decades. Line up your non-negotiables. If you say you're going to do it, do it. Get all the obstacles out the way. Start working through your obstacles right now. I want to engage in self-care on Thursday. These are all the things that I need to take care of to make sure that I am successful in that activity. This is something else I didn't put in here, but I thought about it. Self-care does not have like a specific time limit, right? Like, I have to get involved in self-care for 1 hour, or I have to do it for, 3 hours twice a week. It is not that prescriptive, guys. You got to just go with the flow of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Okay, so if you do something and it's like, maybe you're just sitting at your desk at work and you're coloring a mandala wheel or whatnot, that's fine. And that's probably free. All you did is print it off. Maybe you bought some crowns. Okay, so it's not free. You know what I'm trying to say, though. Some pencils. Go to the dollar store. And then don't forget that the things have to be non-negotiable. And then don't be afraid to take care of yourself. That's a big one. You're pouring out to a lot of people. Don't forget to take care of yourself. It is perfectly fine to take care of you. You are of value. You are important. You are beautiful. You are awesome too. You deserve goodness too. You just do. I do. I know that. I realize that. I might not realize it on my worst days, but I got people in my circle to remind me of that. Do you have people in your circle reminding you of that? Do you have people around you that you are pouring into and they're pouring right back into you? Maybe it's because of my age, but I don't have anybody in my circle that is what I call a taker. We give mutually to and from one another, right? I've said this before, cannot live this life alone. So we're pouring into each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You have to sacrifice some of your stuff. Like, I'm going through a lot right now, which you all are going to learn about later, but I am going through a lot right now. But one of my friends reached out to me recently and I was like, put all this to the side. Your girl needs you. Now what's going on? You understand what I'm saying? So we all have that capacity to be able to do that. So take care of yourselves, and we'll be back obviously soon, and you'll be joining me on this platform. Still the greatest mental health and wellness journey of our lifetime. I'm excited about the content that's coming in the fall. I'm excited about all these little teasers and nuggets just to get us grounded in, what we need to know to understand mental illness even better. So until next time, unto the nations.